4 years on the Johnson plate. You're sweating his dust all over your face. It's 1862 and there ain't no 40 acres and there ain't no mule.
So last year was our first really big year with this project, where we put on the big simulation and celebration of our learning at the end of the year. And throughout this unit, which became a semester-long study of the Atlantic slave trade, and we wove it into science, and we wove it into reading, and we wove it into writing, it became an everyday discussion in our classroom. And as soon as we started learning about this time in history, many of my students were significantly impacted, but one in particular who did not like school. That all changed, and she was there, and she showed up, and she was engaged, and she wanted to learn about it because it affected her and it affected her future.
School's not really my most favorite thing, but learning about this made me want to come to school every day.
When the project first started, I had a lot of concern about whether or not this was too big of a topic for fifth graders. I was not really sure that this was an age group that I wanted to see affected by this. But I think the children really took to it, and my son's narrative made my husband cry when he read it at the evening when the children presented. My husband hadn't heard much about the project before, and he said that he really felt like he was standing there listening to his own child tell his story about being taken away from his family, and it was amazing.
That was so powerful to see, that making the curriculum relevant to my students' lives, and making it emotional and making it more meaningful changed their outlook on school.
I didn't want anybody to feel guilty. I just wanted them to learn, because through guilt you don't learn. It's through the teachings and the education and immersing yourself, in those cultures that you truly understand, what I call not, Black history, but U.S. history.
This project takes history and gives them the connection between things that happened hundreds of years ago to current things that they're seeing, and that provides our students with tools and an awareness as to how to combat racism in the future. What can they do in the community around them that by analyzing history they can bring this awareness to people and advocate for true equality and inclusiveness in our country. Our team was able to go to Charleston to do a field study. So we were able to go to a place where racism is visible and invisible at the same time. And looking at that, we were able to bring back sound bites from historians, from professors, from community members who thank us for coming to Charleston to make this work visible, to bring it into other states and cities around the nation so that we can then educate our students about what they can do, again, to help people that are still struggling.
I would love for them to experience what we experienced when we were able to travel and visit, those plantations and walk and actually be out in those slave quarters and feel and see what, those people went through. We owe it to, history. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to, the sacrifice many of those people made to educate our kids and actually visit those places.
We, really wanted kids to understand what a beautiful culture that these humans had in Africa before everything was ripped from them.
Their lives were destroyed because people were taking them captive. And before that, they were very spiritual and happy, and they did a lot of dances.
Once you carried a spear and wore a lion's mane, now you carry a hoe and got a white man's name. You go barefoot while the horse got shoes. There ain't no 40 acres and there ain't no mule.
during our simulation event, the first part was really a celebration of what their culture was, and to understand how beautiful it was and to respect it before kind of understanding and entering the middle passage where that's all ripped away and the colors are gone and the happiness is gone and the dancing is gone, and then they are going through this tunnel, this hallway, and learning by reading the students' narratives about what it was like to be on a slave ship and to have just been ripped from your family and ripped from your life and be treated like an object.
I sort of felt a little angry, but at the same time sad a little. I didn't know that it was this gigantic, and that so many Africans were enslaved.
As a semester-long project, we felt it really important to incorporate our learning about the slave trade into reading and writing and literacy. And so we decided that we wanted each student to kind of take on the perspective of an enslaved African and write about that experience. And in order to do that, these students had to have a really deep understanding of this time in history, a really deep understanding about what it was like, what the dilemmas that these Africans were faced with in West Africa on the Middle Passage once they had arrived in the colonies. The writing that came out of this project, because of the sheer emotion of it, was the most powerful fifth grade writing I've ever seen. It moved people to tears. It made kids feel more confident in writing because something so emotional pulled something out of them that they didn't know that they had in them before.
The character, he tries to jump off one time, but then he gets taken back on. And then on the second time, he's sort of thinking about what will happen, if he doesn't succeed, what will the punishment be, and then eventually decides to jump off. And then the picture is of him looking down at the shark while he's thinking of whether he should jump or whether he should not jump.
I saw both of my sons' narratives that they wrote, and I was floored. I couldn't believe the level of creative writing and empathy that they expressed through their stories.
I really wanted to do an auction. That's kind of where the object thing came in too, because there's cow auctions, I guess.
I was trying to picture how one person was feeling inside, how they would feel, and since they sell cattle and stuff, they were kind of being treated like animals being sold, so I felt like the person was the animal inside the cage getting sold away.
I remember one of my sons in particular, his name's Drew, and he was writing as a character who was sold into slavery, and he starts the dialogue off like, sold. Those are the words I heard.
The almost randomness of it, you could have chosen anybody, just been and you.
Slave is something that they made up as to describe an African that was taken. So they, instead of calling them enslaved Africans, because they didn't think they were people, they used them as an object.
We published a book with all these narratives at the end, and it was delivered this summer, and yesterday I got to go deliver these books to the students at their middle school. And when they heard that the books were there ready to be picked up, they were sprinting down the hallway, so excited to see their work, so proud of what they have done, and so excited to then share it with other kids. They were showing kids from other elementary schools that they've already met.
So for me, this is one of the most groundbreaking projects I've ever been a part of.
People need to learn that what is happening on the news, all of this stuff, it's not okay.
We are all one, regardless. We are who we are because of our unique differences, our unique beliefs, but we are all of the human race.
Now your great-granddaughter is 101. Singing we shall overcome. It's 1962 and there ain't no 40 acres and there ain't no mule.